Hello people, hope you're faring well. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make Akidi, African black beans, and I'm going to be pairing it with Abacha. So please sit tight as we get right into it. Akidi is a very special type of beans, and with most beans, you have to cook for long. But to reduce the cooking time of these highly nutritious beans, we're going to have to soak it overnight, at least 8 hours to 12 hours. Is ideal to reduce your cooking time to at most 3 to 4 hours. So to clean these beans, I'm going to take off the chaffs. Most of the time when we have stuff like this, it usually comes from insect infestation, so you just want to take that out until you've taken out most of it, and then we're going to start selecting the beans. So because these are very tiny beans, you're not going to be selecting them one after the other. We're just going to be using the water to separate the stones from the beans. So you just want to scoop above, like scoop on top of the water surface, making sure that you're shaking as you scoop. So it's basically just you scooping on the surface, careful not to dip your hands in so you don't pick any stones with it, and then you keep doing this until you've done almost all of it. Now this is what we have left, and we are very sure that there's a lot of stones underneath here, so I just want to be more careful this time so that I don't waste beans as well as scoop stones while trying to save some of the beans. So while picking the beans at first, I noticed some white particles, but well, turns out it's just broken Akidi. So I'm discarding this and getting some fresh water that we're going to be using to soak the beans. So I've just poured in the cleaned out Akidi into clean water, and I'm going to be soaking this overnight, and you're going to see what we have in the next morning. So this is our Akidi after 12 hours, and you can see that it doubled up in size and it's just about ready to cook. So I'm going to be rinsing off the water we used to soak it, and then we start cooking. I'd advise you not to cook this with your gas, but if you're willing to take the risk, by risk I mean wasting your resources, please go ahead. So this is me rinsing out the water from the previous night, and then I'm rinsing it off again with some clean water, and then we're just about to start cooking. So if you have a pressure pot, you can use a pressure pot to cook beans. Pressure pots are perfect for beans, especially beans with a hard outer covering like Akidi, Odudu, Fiofio. So do not use your electricity or gas if you do not want to run out of gas. And also you can agree with me that firewood is best for making most of our local dishes. So after 10 minutes, I'm sieving out the water again, because as with most beans, we're trying to avoid flatulence. You want to eat this and not have to worry about farting every 5 seconds. So we're going to start cooking proper. I'm adding in a bit of salt, and I'm going to let this cook for about an hour before I come back to check it. You just want to, give that some heat, and then this is after an hour. Our beans is almost ready. I'm just going to be fluffing it up to see how well it has cooked. So it's almost ready. It's not ready. We are just going to add a little bit of water and then leave it to finally cook again. Some people might want to stop here, but the beauty of beans is in the tenderness. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I like my beans soft and mushy. So this is about the final cooking stage. So we're not using much heat here. So this took me roughly another hour, and the beans is just where I want it. And now it's time to get into business, because we're just getting started. So like I said earlier, we're making both Akidi and Abacha, and for these two things we're going to be needing ehuru. Ehuru is calabash nutmeg, and you always want to toast your ehuru to enhance the flavor. So after toasting, we're going to grind it to a powder and set it aside, and then we're going to start prepping the Akidi proper. Once I'm done with the ehuru, I'm going to be grinding the pepper I'm going to be using for this Akidi. And then I'm going to set it aside and proceed to frying our fish. This is already seasoned fish, and I'm going to be frying it in palm oil. So once we're done frying the fish, you want to take it out, and then we're adding in some onions into that same oil that we used to fry the fish. You want to give this a good stir before adding in our ground pepper. Make sure it's all properly fried and combined before we add in our ground ehuru. I'm not adding in all the ehuru because, like I said, we're going to be using it for the abacha as well. So you just want to make sure everything is properly combined, and then we're going to be adding in our akidi. So I didn't cook this completely dry. You can still see there's some bit of moisture in it, and it goes well to improve the outcome of our akidi. I've just added in some crayfish and some salt, and I'm going to start stirring. So what we're doing at this point is basically just stir frying and mixing. I'm going to be throwing in 2 bouillon cubes and then keep mixing. So I was holding the camera for most part of this video. That is why at this point you cannot see me stirring as I should be. I stirred this properly until everything was thoroughly combined, and then I let it simmer for a bit, and then the akidi is finally ready. So for the abacha, we're starting off with this chili pepper. I'm going to be throwing in Nbasa. Nbasa is bonga fish, just the head, and I'm going to be using the other parts to make the abacha. So for our emulsifier, we're going to be using ungo. It's a natural potash based ash, like this, like the healthier version of akawu, and it's gotten from burning a part of the palm plant. So into my pepper mix, I've added in my palm oil, and I'm just stirring this evenly because the key here is mixing, and this is why I'm doing it in a mortar than in a bowl. So I'm adding in my ehuvu, and I'm also going to make sure that I'm incorporating it properly. So I use the fine sieve to sieve out the top layer, that's the water out of the mixture, out of the ngo mixture that I dissolved earlier, and then I'm going to be pouring it bit by bit into the mixture. So at this point, what we've successfully made is ncha, an authentic Igbo sauce that goes with pretty much anything. You can use this to make nkwobi, it's Igbo, you name it. As far as your sauce is right, whatever you're making is going to come out nice. I'm just throwing in 2 bouillon cubes, and then we're almost done with this sauce. Some people go on to cook their abacha, but with this method, as far as everything is properly mixed, I don't need to cook my abacha or apply any form of heat whatsoever. I added in a bit of salt. This covers for the amount of abacha I'm making. The pieces of fish from my Nbasa from earlier, and then I'm adding in the uba. As I'm adding in the uba, I'm going to reduce the rate of mixing so I don't end up crushing them. So once I've added in the uba, it's almost ready, and then it's time to mix in our abacha. So to prep my abacha, I soaked it in water, in cold water for 15 minutes. But then it depends on the kind of abacha you got. It depends on the quality of the abacha that you got. Some people soak with hot water for a shorter period of time, but I prefer to soak with cold water depending on the kind of abacha, the quality of abacha that you got. So I'm just adding in a bit of salt to wash it properly, and then I'll take it out of that water and then rinse it off with another clean batch. You can continue to mix everything inside the mortar, but I prefer to use a wider bowl. I didn't do most of this mixing on camera, but at this point you can already tell that I don't even need to do much because my sauce is already on point. So I added in some crayfish for flavor. You can add it directly into the sauce mixture, but I prefer to add it at this point. And guys, if you had tasted this at this point, in fact, you don't even need to taste it as long as you're following this recipe step by step, because can you see how this is looking? This is one of the most delicious combos you can ever have. This right here is the key to unlocking a burst of local flavors. And then the star of the moment, our delicious akidi. This akidi was a hit, and you have yourself the perfect local delicacy. Authentic abacha and akidi made with lots of love from my kitchen to yours. Please let me know if you have any questions trying this recipe, and I'll answer all of them in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed this. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Thank you. Bye.